how rich and powerful is Lord Evelyn Rothschild. Historically, the Rothschild family wealth was hidden in underground vaults. The Rothschilds' secret financial records were never audited and never accounted for. Their family-commissioned biographies give the illusion that their family fortune has dwindled, but researchers estimate their wealth at close to $500 trillion, more than half the wealth of the entire world. The Rothschilds bought Reuters in the 1800s. Reuters then bought the Associated Press, which selects and delivers the same news stories to the entire world, day after day. They have controlling interest in 3 major television networks and easily avoid media attention since they own it. Over the centuries, the Rothschilds have amassed trillions of dollars worth of gold bullion in their subterranean vaults and have cornered the world's gold supply. They own controlling interest in the world's largest oil company, Royal Dutch Shell. They operate phony charities and offshore banking services where the wealth of the black nobility and the Vatican is hidden in secret accounts at Rothschild Swiss banks, trusts, and holding companies. Although Evelyn Rothschild looks like a harmless gray-haired old man, make no mistake about it, Rothschild and his ancestors have handpicked presidents, crashed stock markets, bankrupted nations, orchestrated wars, and sponsored the mass murder and impoverishment of millions.
A terminology of the merger of state and corporate powers, according to Mussolini, was called fascism. We could call this fascism light. So we're concerned, and we're not saying this is going to happen, but after these kind of catastrophic collapses, sometimes they're followed by war.
One of the elements of where they want to take the world is a third world war, which they wish to involve Europe, the United States, Russia and China. I was told by insiders in the 1990s in America that the plan was to lead to a conflict involving China, triggered out of the Middle East, involving Israel as the trigger, and would bring about the final global conflict, which would lead to them being able to offer the solution to stop this ever happening again, which would be a world government and a single world army. What they won't tell you is those that have manipulated the war will be the same people that offer the solution to the war, which is exactly the structure of control that they want. A major conflict is being orchestrated, which is designed to change the face of society. Because there's nothing that changes society faster than a war. And they want this third world war to change the face of global society to the point where they can introduce this centralized global structure. What we've got to do is stop fighting them and stop falling for this scam. Because if we go into this third world war, then, goodbye freedom.
It is time to define the military actions of the last 9.5 years. What do you call the million dead Iraqis, the lies about WMDs, the near decade-long occupation of Afghanistan, the drone attacks inside our supposed ally Pakistan, the drone attacks in Yemen, the U.S. warships off the coast of Syria, and the EU and UN calls for sanctions? What do you call this? Where is it all originating from? What's the end game? What's the goal? Well, if you look at historical references and comparisons, this is undoubtedly the beginning of a new major multi-regional war. And how do you define a multi-region, long-term war with large casualties with many countries involved? You call it a world war. But in our modern Orwellian age, The spin doctors have simply labeled it as vengeance for 9/11, and then looking for WMDs, and then hunting for Al-Qaeda, and then liberating countries. And in the last 9 years, we have seen invasion after invasion against the Middle East and Central Asian countries. It's simple. The big mega banks that run the West go in, foment guerrilla warfare groups, start wars with their countries, whether those countries are good or bad. The facts are they foment the rebellions. Once the rebellion is on, the sanctions come in, then the drone attacks, the full bombardments, and then the ground invasions. I'm not talking about a surefire Armageddon. I'm not talking about total megadeath and billions dead or the earth rendered lifeless. I'm talking about the definition of a world war. Multiple regions with many different nations involved with high body counts over a long period of time that affects the entire world. Via our dead troops, increased oil prices, bankrupt deficits, it's all there. This is a world war.
The people better stand up and take action. Stand up and take action. You're leading us into the first great war of the 21st century. It's begun. People say to me, what should I do? What should you do? Grow up, you're adults. What do you think, there's a magic answer? You're going to write your congressman, call your senator? Grow up. Here's a solution. Do something. Use your brains. You're adults. Your lives are on the line, and so are your children. So are your nations. Stop the wars. We need peace. Our economies are sinking, and our empires are now in decline.